Welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you are watching real time, that's because you are a Patreon patron, or because you are a YouTube subscriber, or because you took the extra step of linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. That's a 3-step process. It takes about 4 seconds, and there are instructions in the show description below. So please try to do that. It's free, even if you're already paying on Patreon, already paying on YouTube. It costs you nothing. Amazon pays us, and it's part of your Prime subscription. So go for it. Today's question from Patreon, from NeoJD. What are your thoughts on Jim Ryan's leadership at PlayStation? PSVR 2 flopped. There are rumors of a streaming-only handheld, and most of its games in development are service games. I'm starting to question his decision-making. Is he riding on the coattails of the PS4 generation? Is he safe as long as PS5 keeps selling? You got to step back and ask what he's charged to do at PlayStation. And bottom line is he's charged to make a profit, and they're very profitable. So they're selling a lot of PS5s. They've managed to keep the price very high. They're selling a lot of software, and they managed to keep those prices very high. They are outperforming Xbox, and they are outperforming Nintendo. I mean, they really are in terms of overall, sales. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And PSVR 2, I guess you could say that's Jim Ryan, but it's not. Sony was going to do that, period. They want to participate. Streaming-only handheld, let's see. I think it will be a flop, but the PlayStation Plus service is actually quite good. If I were to question Jim's decision-making on that, I would say that he made the prudent decision not to put first-party titles on PlayStation Plus day and date, not to give them away for free. And we wouldn't even be talking about this if Microsoft followed that same rule, but Microsoft is making their first-party titles free day and date. So people compare and say, wait a minute, we're not getting the same quality of content on PS Plus as we're getting on Game Pass. Well, yeah, you're not. And PS Plus is more profitable, period. So, or PlayStation is more profitable. So Jim's doing what he's supposed to do. Is he safe? I remember in 2019 meeting with him, and he was going to have his 60th birthday party. So he's going to be 64 this year. So he is safe until he retires at 65, which will be next year. I don't think that nobody he's not going to work until he's 75 at PlayStation. My expectation is that he is doing exactly what Sony wanted him to do, and that they already have a successor lined up. And my guess is it'll be a Japanese national, and they'll continue to do exactly what he's been doing. So you can't get down on a guy for doing what he's told to do. And I really believe he's following instructions at Sony. So while I love to bitch and moan about Sony pulling out of E3, I don't think it was Jim Ryan. I think it was Sony parent telling him, too expensive, it's not worth it. And he said, okay. Oh, I think that if he had any spine, he would argue and push back and say, it's got value, let's do it. I think corporate parents, their job is to tell you that you're spending too much money, and then you have to justify why you're spending what you're spending. But it's his job to push back, and he didn't, because it's easier just to go along and get along. And being a man of that same age, I understand. You're at the end of your career. What are you going to fight a battle for? Who cares? Make your money, make your job easier by making your employer happy. I don't criticize the guy at all, but I understand how gamers would be confused. I'm not confused, concerned that he could be doing a better job. Sure, for them, he could be doing a better job. And it's hard to compare the leaders of the groups. I mean, Bowser's great at Nintendo, but it's really Furukawa who is calling the shots. Phil is great at Xbox. It's probably Satya Nadella who's calling the shots. I think Phil pushes back and says, no, we should not do it that way. We should do it this way. Now, if Satya Nadella said, put first-party titles on day and date, Phil would say, okay, they're on, but it's going to cost us, $5 million a year or $20 million a year or whatever. And Satya goes, great, worth the cost. Let's go for it. Phil did his job. If he said no, if he said yes, he did his job, because he understands, again, what's the mission at Xbox? Is it to get as many Game Pass subscribers as possible? Then they're doing the right thing. What's the mission at PlayStation? It's to sell as many PS5s as possible. So everything they're doing, PSVR, sell more PS5s. PlayStation handheld, sell more PS5s. That's their job. So that's what Jim's being paid to do, and he's doing it. So like I said, I expect Jim will be gone in the next year or two, but not for incompetence, because he's made plenty of money and he is entitled to relax and not work so hard. So I wish him well. He's a nice man. There are two broad business models in video games. You sell a game or you give it away. If you sell it, you get your $60 or $70 and you're done. And the person plays the game and he's done, and then he buys another $60 or $70 game. If you give it away, then you have in-app purchases, you kind of come up with an economy, give the gamer a motivation to spend money, and some do and some don't. But you have to make it balanced so that people who don't want to spend don't, and they can enjoy the game. But balanced so that people with more money than time will buy their way through because they don't have the time to invest. People with more time than money will work their way through, and nobody feels taken advantage of. So keeping it balanced where both the spender and the non-spender feel it's fair and even, those are the best games possible. The guys who complain about these service games are the whiners who don't want to spend money and also don't want to spend the time. And the mindset is, I bought the game for $60. Now it keeps going. I should be entitled to get everything for free that they keep adding in the game. And so the biggest disservice ever done to the gaming community was Grand Theft Auto Online, because Take-Two put that game behind a paywall. They said, buy GTA and then you can play GTA Online. And you said, okay, great, I already paid $60 for GTA. Why do I have to buy stuff in the game? It's not fair. I already paid. Anybody who plays the game for free, so I'll use Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, anybody who plays a free game as a service understands why you have to pay for stuff, because they got to make the game work. They have to make it economic. And they understand if it's unfair, if it's unbalanced, if it's a cash grab, you're done, the game fails. It's got to be balanced for the games like Fortnite works, because $10 every 10 weeks and you get 10,000 V-Bucks back, you get your $10 back, and you get a lot of shit. People do that. They think that's cool. So it's balanced. Makes sense. But if they charge $60 for Fortnite, you'd be like, what are they charging me for more stuff for? So GTA Online is the wrong model. Sony's mistake is they're following that model, right? So what they should do is do what Activision did. And remember, Activision had Call of Duty Blackout, which was a piece of crap games as a service that required you to buy Call of Duty in order to play it. And nobody liked it. And it took them a year and a half, and they said, okay, that was a mistake. Let's launch Call of Duty Warzone. Free, no Call of Duty purchase required, same exact game as Blackout, but free, and it totally worked. And what happened to Call of Duty the next year? Oh, sales were up 60%. Like, what the hell? How did that happen, right? I meant 40%, maybe it was 40, but whatever, it was up a lot. So how did they do that? Oh, because more people tried the free game because it was free. So you didn't complain, but your comment about most of the games in development are service games, it's fine to have games as a service if you don't charge. And Take-Two made a mistake putting a paywall behind GTA Online. They don't think so. They'll be like, no, we sold 150 million copies of GTA. GTA Online helped us sell that last 90 million. Wrong. If you had made GTA Online free to play and said, do you want to play the 200 missions of GTA 5? $20, and you can play 200 missions. I think they could have taken the 200 missions of GTA 5 and charged you, 10 cents or 50 cents per mission to play them as part of GTA Online, instead of charging you for the game. Imagine if they charge you 50 cents per mission play until you're tired of playing it for 50 cents. You'd pay $100 for GTA. They could have done it that way. I think they would have made more money because people playing GTA Online. Or they could have said in GTA Online, hey, here's an alliance mechanic, and if you've completed GTA 5 mission 12, you've unlocked this weapon or car or whatever that you need in order to finish this mission. If you own the game, no problem. You have the weapon or the car or whatever. If you don't own the game, 50 cents, and you can play that mission right now and unlock it. Who would complain about that if you didn't buy the game? So there's ways to get you to spend the money. I think in retrospect, Take-Two realizes that they could have done it this way. Sony hasn't figured that out yet. They will. And ultimately, what Activision did was they regrouped after Blackout. It was terrible. They refocused on Warzone, and their numbers, 100 million people played Warzone. How many people buy Call of Duty? 25. So 100 million, that's more people than ever bought Call of Duty. They doubled their audience, and what happened? 10 or 15 million of those people said, I think I'm going to try Call of Duty, and bought it. Brilliant. So Sony is trying to get into this business, and they're just going about it the wrong way. So don't worry about it. They'll figure it out. Do I blame Jim Ryan? No more than I blame Bobby Kotick for putting Call of Duty Blackout behind a paywall, and no more than I blame Strauss Zelnick for putting GTA Online behind a paywall. Strauss didn't make that decision. Sam Houser did. And, Bobby probably didn't make that decision either. Rob Kostich did, or whoever runs the Activision Publishing is Rob. So, when it didn't work, they went back. I give Bobby massive props for figuring it out. Strauss doesn't need to change because it worked for them. So Sony's looking at it and going, well, it worked for GTA. Maybe it'll work for us. We'll find out. If you want to criticize Sony for anything, they paid too much for Bungie. That's a fair thing to criticize, but I wouldn't criticize them for games as a service. Anyway, thank you for joining us on this edition of Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you're a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, we thank you for your patronage. That's keeping the lights on. If you have managed to figure out how to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, then we appreciate that you've done it. If you haven't figured it out, the instructions are in the show description below. So figure it out, because it's easy and free. If you already pay for Prime, you're already getting the option to do this for free, and we'll get paid by Amazon. So please try to remember to do that. If you have no Amazon Prime and no money, you're watching this a week late on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. Hope I'm entertaining you. And the price for that is you have to follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Please do mention that I shamed you into it, and I will give you a shout out on Twitter. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.